It is amazing to me the lengths that Charlie Kirk will actually go to perpetuate the lies that he likes to tell not only himself but his audience. But here we are yet again. So we already know the outcome of the Hannah Payne situation. Y'all know I did a live stream talking about it. Then I highlighted it again in my another live stream where I talked about the actual sentencing that she got. Of course, if you don't know, she was sentenced to basically a total of 43 years in prison. Well, 43 years to life in prison. Well, life in prison with the possibility of parole, and is eligible for parole after 43 years. She's 25 now, so that means that she won't be eligible for parole until she is 68. That is a very long time when you think about it in hindsight. But some people don't seem to like the way that outcome was. Hence why we're talking about Charlie Kirk today. But this is actually going to extend just beyond Charlie Kirk. But you'll see what I mean when we get there. So Charlie Kirk posted up on his account, Kenneth Herring crashed his car into somebody, then illegally fled the scene. He's already lying right there because the man was having a manic episode. He was having a emergency episode right there. He did not flee anything, and if he tried to flee, it's only because he was trying to get to a hospital or trying to seek medical help. He was panic. He was mostly in panic mode. But see, again, Charlie Kirk didn't follow this story. When citizen Hannah Payne tried to stop him, now watch how he framed it. When citizen Hannah Payne tried to stop him, he assaulted her. See what I mean? This guy literally wrote an entire lie on this platform, and he's not even getting hit for misinformation. This whole tweet, this whole post that he made is a lie from the first to last words. And the only reason he did it is because of the narrative. Here you have this PC woman who murdered this black man and got found guilty of all charges and was sentenced for to prison for a long time. And he doesn't like how that framed itself. He doesn't like that. He tends to do that a lot. Now, if this went the way that he had wanted it to go, he probably would have put up another lie up here, but it would have been worded differently. He said Payne shot him in self-defense, even though there's a whole video online showing what she actually did. This was not self-defense. This woman literally went up there and did what she did, even though the cops told her, or the dispatch told her, not to engage. We will deal with this when we get there. Basically, she did a George Zimmerman, which is a good comparison because that framed out the same exact way when he did what he did to Trayvon Martin. He says, but now she's been convicted of premeditated murder after prosecutors ridiculously claim that a fleeing criminal was minding his own business. I'm trying to figure out what charge was it where it said premeditated murder when it said that she was convicted of malice murder. Premeditated was not in there last time I checked. See, this is how you know he did not pay attention to anything. Who knows where he probably just grabbed saw certain things and just put it out there for his followers to see. He says after prosecutors ridiculously claimed that a fleeing criminal was minding his own business, and see what he just did right there. He called Kenneth Herring, the victim, a criminal, but called the criminal a victim. He said the only criminals left-wing prosecutors believe in punishing are ordinary people who don't want to live in violent anarchy. This is exactly why people like Charlie Kirk cannot go outside and be amongst certain people. He put stuff out there like that to gaslight people. And again, if y'all look at a live stream that that Afro Elite did, he literally let it all bear out how he really feels about black people I think it was at a college campus or something like that. But of course, when he said it, he was around like-minded individuals. None of them were black, of course, because he knows he wasn't going to make it out there in one piece. So he knows exactly what he is doing. And this is what he tends to do when he gets on to Twitter or even his own platform, is he spews out this anti-black rhetoric every single chance he gets, and all of it is a bunch of lies. This whole post that he made is nothing but filled with a bunch of lies. But what makes this even more egregious, what makes this even more ridiculous, is that you have some of his supporters that literally sat up there and ate up the lie that he told because they weren't aware of this case. So you're telling me you're getting your cliff notes, your news from Charlie Kirk? That's who you're taking your cues from, is Charlie Kirk. Someone who is not a journalist by any means. He just gets up there and spews. But see, the thing is, all he had to do was say something anti-black, say left wing here, maybe woke here, and all this type of stuff, the certain, the particular buzzwords, and that got him going. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post up a few tweets, just a few, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And like I said, those are just a few of them. There's a whole bunch more that I could have gone through, but those are the ones right there. Thankfully, there was some black people that got wind of what he said and was clapping back at him. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, black people, people like Charlie Kirk, who does what they do on what seems to be a daily basis, and they put stuff up like this, don't waste your time or your breath trying to quote unquote educate him on the trial or asking him things like, did you even watch the trial? It's pretty obvious that he didn't. He already had this preconceived notion made up in his head if this went the way that he thought it was going to go. For all we know, hypothetically speaking, he could have very well known about this case, but because of the optics, he thought, oh, she's going to get off. It's it's been like this before. We've seen this always play out. She's going to get away with it, but she didn't. She thought the same thing too. And well, look at the position she's in now. So because of that, now this is his way of, trying to clap back by putting out lies about the trial and the case as a whole, and Kenneth Herring calling him a criminal when he definitely wasn't a criminal. He was the victim, but trying to make the criminal seem like they were the victim, which of course we're talking about Hannah Payne. And this shows you also how dumb his supporters are. I'm like, Charlie Kirk was a junior college dropout. He couldn't even complete a 2-year institution. And this is who you're taking your cues from. And the crazy part about it is others of his ilk seem to be falling into that same category. Heap how a lot of the other ones are college dropouts as well, or didn't really amount to anything on a collegiate level. And what do? They get online and they start spewing anti-black rhetoric because they figure that's how they're going to garner an audience. And for so long, it has worked in their favor. But like Kid Gravity said, and I'm a huge believer in what Kid Gravity is saying, especially when it comes to these elections, November of 2024, the grift, in my opinion, in our opinion, and in many others' opinion, is going to be done. And that's for everybody who's doing the grift game. All of them are going to be dead as a doornail. Bury it. But yeah, people like Charlie Kirk, he needs a reality check, for real. No, you can tell no one has ever checked him. He comes definitely from a privileged background, which is why he gets up there and says the stuff that he says. He garnered the audience, so he feels like he has the protection with them. But the thing is, he just hasn't come across the right one yet. That's just it. But remember, a couple months ago, I talked about how Charlie Kirk had got ran off of some campus, or he got booed off of a campus because he had came there. They had a band there, was playing their music over top of him trying to speak and all types of stuff like that. People don't want him around. And that's the thing about people like him and others. Their biggest voice, the volume of their voice usually only goes as far as social media. A lot of the times when they actually have to go and show up and do things in person, people don't want them there. Sometimes, in some cases, they get banned from, being in certain places, especially on certain college campuses, because they don't want that rhetoric spewed out there. It's not like they don't know or not aware of who they are. They do background checks. And how ironic that he put this whole lie on social media, on Twitter. Where was the community notes to check this? There was no community notes present. He didn't get the post flagged for misinformation and was made to take it down or given a warning or anything. It was allowed to stay up. But keep in mind, ever since Elon Musk took over, remember what happened on the first day. They said the use of the N-word went up 500%. They couldn't wait to start saying it online because they felt Elon Musk is taking over. Now we got free speech. Their free speech is them wanting to use the N-word so bad. That was their free speech right there. They wanted to say the N-word so bad on social media. Well, the thing is, that's as far as it will go is on social media, because if you try to tell that to an on-code black person, well, let's just put it this way. They might hit you so hard, you might not be talking for a while. You're going to have to consume all of your meals possibly through a straw. If you're dealing with an on-code black person, that is. But yeah, Charlie Kirk, again, he's in a position where he feels very comfortable to say the things that he says. And see, the thing is, we can put stuff out about them that's not even a lie, that's very negative about them. And I had told people on Twitter, I said what people need to start doing, what black people in particular need to start doing, is, you know how like they always like to bring up Chicago this and Chicago that all the time as a negative? We need to start talking about some of these rural, rundown towns that are getting all of this assistance and constantly talking about them. Y'all know I like to talk about and bring up Owsley County. Ever since I learned about that town, I've been making sure that that town stays locked in my brain, in some corner of my brain, and it never leaves. Because they don't talk about those places. They never do. They always like to bring up Chicago. They always like to bring up Baltimore or certain parts of New York or anywhere there's a black collective at. Let's start talking about the collectives of where they're at and really dissecting their areas. And I'm talking about black people as a whole need to start doing that. It's fine when some of us do it, but it has to be more of us. We have to find a way to push back against that narrative, because it's so easy. It's not even a hard thing to do. It's really not. And then have fun with it. I know I do. It may not go far for some, but I know it's reached a few, and that's all that matters.